And boom goes the dynamite. Hello, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans. We are talking about another episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we are covering Season 4, Episode 13, Boom. Let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Woo, I am so excited to talk.
And boom goes the dynamite.
What?
Slide. Don't do that.
I don't get a pass?
Yeah.
I'm not allowed?
Boom
Aww.
goes the dynamite.
But it's called Boom.
And boom it is.
There was a big explosion. It makes more sense to make that reference than it does to have a guy whose last name is Shockley have fire powers. That makes no sense.
But there wasn't any dynamite in the episode, man.
Not any dynamite. That's it. Thank you. Yeah. Zach, the voice of reason.
Right.
What's going on in the world?
You guys have made a great point, so let's go ahead and bring it back and get the ball rolling. Hello, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans. Welcome to another episode of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we are talking about the episode Boom, which apparently I'm not allowed to make references about. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Jesse Klein.
Hi, everyone. I thought Boom Goes the Dynamite was perfectly corny. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number one.
My sincerest apologies to Tehran.
I actually, you've been gone, so I was to the left is usually me, and then I was like about to say something, and then you were there. Yeah, I'm so glad to see you're back.
I'm sorry.
To his left,
Thank you.
Tehran.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you at I Am Tehran all across social media, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. That's
The
it.
atmosphere.
Boom. Yeah. Boom goes the dynamite. The whole social atmosphere. That's the social atmosphere.
And to his left, Zach Wilson.
Boom goes the plot development.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter at @ZachWilson. That wasn't even like a jab at anything. It was just like, I don't know why. It was like I wanted to blow up a story thing.
At this point, I'm sorry I brought it up. But, go ahead.
You gotta be more careful with this group.
Yours was amazing.
No, it was.
Yes, it was.
Please.
I loved it.
The chat, which I've got you guys who are joining us live, is just like hashtag here comes the boom.
See, that's much better. That's much better.
Love it.
Since we're talking about him anyway, let's go ahead and start off talking about...
You didn't introduce you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm Megan. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVMarvel. Zach's got an eye on the live chat. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we got you covered. We want to hear what you guys thought about the episode. So, yeah, since we're talking about him,
Sure.
Tucker Shockley.
Yeah. That's Nitro.
Or...
That's full on Nitro. Who, if you don't know, he is a guy with, I believe he got his powers through out of space somehow. And what he does is he explodes and then reforms
And
just exactly like he did in the show. He's also the reason why in the comic books why Civil War happened.
that was him?
Yeah, that was Nitro.
So
if you read the comic books or you're not familiar with the comic book Civil War, it started where some superheroes were trying to catch some villains. One of them happened to be Nitro.
On a reality TV show.
And they fought them all the way next to a school where Nitro ignited and killed all of the children in the school, thus starting the need for
the
superhero registration
Act. Yeah.
True.
And
there's Nitro.
Zach, sent us a great picture to use for those of you guys watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
And if you look at him and then you look at Shockley on the show,
they look very similar.
Yeah, the hair like dripping in front of his face, like, that's Nitro.
Because we were like, maybe it's just Explodey guy, but then we looked up the picture and we were like, no, that's full on Nitro.
Well, because they've done it a few times where they'll give somebody a power that's reminiscent of a character in the books, but not name them. So I think to sort of just leave it open in case they want that character later.
Or like Nitro's a big Hulk villain, so like not having him be in the movies is very interesting. Like maybe they'll bring him in the movies. It'll just be a similar power.
It makes sense though because they've done similar things with Hulk villains. I mean, they have Talbot is a mainstay of this show.
That's true, and Absorbing Man. So
it kind of makes sense to give somebody who definitely won't be getting any limelight in the movies in the next 10 years,
Yeah.
as far as we can tell. Just, a little bit of spot on the show. And me, in particular, I have been missing I called him Daredevil. I have been missing the Ghost Rider,
Yeah, sure.
aesthetic I've been missing that aesthetic. So seeing a human skeleton reforming with the muscles around it, that was really cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We have a 10 o'clock spot. That's so cool.
It's one of the things the show, they leaned really hard into for that first chapter. We can go darker because we're an hour later. We're going to push the boundaries. And then LMD started out and they were sort of just back to where they were, but they hadn't
not back to basics, so to speak.
We weren't quite as like last week where it was light in that fun way.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite there either, so it was walking this weird middle ground. This is more that dark aspect.
One time, just real quick, Nitro blew all the flesh off of Wolverine, so he was just an adamantium skeleton, and Wolverine had to regrow from a skeleton.
Which Wolverine was able to do.
Yeah, because he's Wolverine.
Because he's Wolverine.
And I think
his jaw just moving
Zach wants this to be Nitro because that means that Taskmaster might be around the corner.
Taskmaster is somewhere to be found.
He's
he might be on the bottom of the ocean. We don't know.
He's gonna get his own Netflix series. He's perfect for Netflix.
Watch that.
Speaking of a gentleman who may or may not be on the bottom of the ocean,
Sure.
Kind of what sort of kickstarts this whole Nitro thing is the fact that the Superior wants to test Nadir.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a fantastic misdirect because, we have this guy who's, this staunch Inhuman hater. It's one of those things where it's it's so delicious that, you would then be subjected to the thing that you hate. So I thought it was a really great misdirect of her being oh no, and we have good reason to think that she very well could go through Terrigenesis.
Well, we have good reason because all the rules of being an Inhuman state that she absolutely should have the Inhuman gene.
He speculates, it could be recessive.
It's possible.
And so it could skip generations.
It's if that's true, it's separating itself from what 616 canon is.
Sure.
But it's set up perfectly for this scene because we are anticipating, obviously, that she will go through Terrigenesis or, crumble to pieces, but they set up within the dialogue in the scene that it could very well skip a generation, so it makes complete and total. We're not that doesn't make sense when she doesn't turn. I don't know. I thought it was good. Do you guys have other thoughts on this particular reveal?
I was sad to see Nadir go.
Yeah.
I really liked her character. I thought she was a really good foil.
She pushed the plot.
Yeah, and I thought she was a really good foil for Mace, who's guy who wants to do good all the time, and she is person who thinks she's doing good as well. It was a really good kind of back and forth between them, and so I was kind of sad to see her go, and I'm gonna be interested to see if they push that in the upcoming episodes, because a U.S. senator was killed by an Inhuman in a United States building, a government building. That's a terrorist act as far as they know. And so, an Inhuman
technically, it was as terrorist an act because it blew up. On top of that,
it was the Watchdogs.
Well, it's funny because he's a terrorist.
Yeah,
he's a terrorist.
It's just not the terrorist they think it is.
Politically, it makes it an interesting scenario for S.H.I.E.L.D. If they came out with the whole story and we're on it, I feel if you just gave them the honest truth in this, there's no secrets that would be bad to hide from this scenario. The Watchdogs and Senator Nadir were working together. A member of the Watchdogs went in, tried to set off a Terrigen mist inside the office, created an Inhuman, and the Watchdog was an Inhuman to show that that group is not only hypocritical in that they're it doesn't quite it's weird.
The problem is they don't know that part. They don't know the part where the plan was to get Nadir to turn and that they have the Terrigenesis crystals.
Do they know what? Does the public
fair.
know what the Terrigenesis crystal does? Does the general public know this?
They definitely know about the
Terrigenesis,
fish oil thing. And,
they know they know, but I think the fish oil was out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
and
there's
that
enough actual solid crystals out and about in the world for the general population
They
to
know
about
that anyone can be an Inhuman. Like that part.
I know
they're
that
aware
part,
of.
but what I am just thinking to what you said, to your commentary is, as a news source, right? If the federal government came out and said this is what happened, then what about other people will be like, oh, well, how do I test people and see if they're Inhumans?
Like,
yeah.
oh,
And that
there's
becomes
a test.
There's
yeah.
a test, and that becomes
Oh, that'd
something
be really
in a
interesting.
way to basically torture people.
And the thing
or
is,
people.
It's fascinating thing. Like, and then it becomes a whole rights thing. Like, is there something? Is that something like in elementary school when you get like a scoliosis test? Do you now have to have an Inhuman test?
Yeah.
And is that also like a reasonable thing to test just so that you know?
So you
Just
know
that
whether
you're
or not
aware,
there's
like,
going to be a kid on the playground who could explode.
If I have a 10-year-old kid, like, we're not saying he has to like register, but for me as a parent, like, what I want to know that he needs to be careful because he could be an Inhuman if he was ever around Terrigenesis.
But the problem is with releasing all of that information to the public is that the headline will be Senator killed by Inhuman.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he's a member of the Watchdogs, which again, as you guys pointed out, proves that they are a hypocritical organization and that she was in league with them. That almost doesn't matter because all the public is going to take away from it is Senator killed by Inhuman.
And specifically, a senator who has spoken against Inhumans repeatedly.
Yeah.
Like, it's a perfect headline.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that she's gone as well, not only because of the great antagonist that she made for our main heroes, but that the fact that her brother, who is most likely still alive, and that when he inevitably comes back into the show, that that is no longer a point of conflict. So
there
I
won't be any.
No idea what they plan on doing with him, but I thought that whatever that plot line was going to entail, involved his family.
Yeah.
I actually thought it furthered that plot line, and I'll tell you why. Because as soon as Nadir was gone, I was like, the brother's going to come back and try to avenge the death of his sister and be the one to dismantle the Watchdogs, basically single-handedly.
That'd be
almost.
cool.
And I just thought that would be a possible plot.
But where's his anger going to be directed? Is it going to be directed at the Watchdogs or at S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Would you say that taking down Watchdogs will be his task?
What?
Zach, please stop. Zach, please stop.
You're
amazing. You're amazing. Will he be a master at this task? Will he be able? I find it very interesting, and we all are in agreement that Shockley had no idea that he had this power.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
Because I thought it's interesting that he was able to use his power so quickly and efficiently after getting it. Like, he didn't take time to master it.
I don't think his that power necessarily needs like a high level of like control. I think like the idea of like if he were to like practice it, he could do it on a small scale, like only blow up his hand. But just blowing up himself like wildly is just like.
Yeah, and the other thing. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it seemed like the way that Fitzsimmons explained it was that, like, he was just building up kinetic energy until he exploded, and so it seemed like at that moment he had such a high level of, like, just emotion that he was like doing that already when he broke out of his cocoon.
And that's
but
why
reconfiguring to me is probably the task that's more difficult.
But that's why I had an issue with how was he able to master it, because they said it's kinetic energy, and just being upset is not kinetic energy. Like, there would be some type of movement, and he was able to just do it almost spontaneously.
But you're always moving. Even
true, your body, your cells and stuff, but
so I think that's what they were saying is like all of that kinetic energy could technically build up into something if you knew how to do that. Like, the human body is constantly building energy and friction, all that kind of stuff. So I think the science, I'm putting in quotation marks, is that, you know,
Hashtag Marvel science.
the blood running through your veins, all of your molecules
heartbeat,
rubbing against each other, like all
Can
that
we
kind of
win
stuff.
a Nobel Prize in Marvel science?
Yeah,
And
sure.
I think the idea to his reconstituting is that his cells are just naturally attracted
To
back,
one another?
Drawn
yeah,
to
to
one
come
another.
back into the form that they're.
So
supposed
basically,
to.
he could just do it, and you're saying he would be able to master it if he could do it on a small scale, like his pinky or something, just blow a little
Yeah,
piece of something.
like
That'd be
that's
pretty cool.
it's sort of the opposite. Whereas like Daisy had to learn how to make it bigger, he has to learn like. If let's assume he was a good guy for a moment, he would have to learn how to control it so he didn't constantly blow everyone up.
That's actually, I was thinking of the Daisy scenario where she had to work on being able to gain energy and skill to make
Yeah.
her get
Well,
more powerful.
oh, go ahead.
It just reminded me. It reminds me of like season 1 of Heroes had a
Yeah.
very similar
There was
person. There was the nuclear man, and that's the whole thing. It's like he didn't want to blow up, but he couldn't help it. So this guy wanted to blow up. So all he had to do, his body wanted to. So all
Yeah.
he had to do was let it.
Just like, and by the end of it, he's almost doing it on command. And that's the other thing too, is like being a member of the Watchdogs, he clearly has an inherent hatred for what he now is, and so he's probably perfectly all right with constantly blowing himself up because he's like, hey, at least I'll take down the enemy with me.
Yeah.
Self-hate.
This just
What?
made me laugh. Beta Artemis in chat just goes, Voltorb used self-destruct.
Super effective.
Hilarious.
Well, except against Daisy, it's not very effective.
Which, speaking of anime references, I absolutely loved where Quake is just like constantly hitting him with the shock vibrations and he keeps exploding.
Yeah.
It was almost right out of Full Metal Alchemist where Roy Mustang is constantly blowing up a homunculus until finally it expires. But that's just what I kind of pictured. And anyway, moving on. Because no one here watches that show. It's fine. But
None of those words meant anything to me, but I support you in them.
Aw, thanks, guys. I
Did you
appreciate that
use
support.
homunculus in a sentence?
I did. I did.
I'm never playing Scrabble with you ever in my
Reference
life.
to a completely different
Mud-made
show.
human form.
You know who else was making interesting comparisons was Mace this entire episode. He just had an extended football metaphor going the entire episode to just explain his inadequacies to the audience.
It's almost as if something football-y happened last weekend.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And the showrunners knew this and decided to put a bunch of football references in this episode.
Was it the World Series?
It was the World Series of Football, only on CBS.
It actually is kind of funny that the Patriots were playing
true.
this weekend. So I did want to ask though, what did you guys? Because this is the first time we are kind of introduced to the idea that extended exposure to this not superhuman serum is actually lethal to Mace, and I didn't necessarily get that that's kind of the route that we were going to be going, but this is the first time that possibility was introduced.
It came sort of out of nowhere.
Did you guys kind of appreciate that potential, the danger he's actively putting himself in every time he takes this?
Well, if you remember, my prediction last week was that Mace is going to die. And this kind of just leads credence towards that. They found a way to kill off Mace somehow.
Yeah.
Because Mace is now stepping into that hero role that was placed on him, the moniker that was placed on him that he didn't actually necessarily want, and now he's
But
become
readily
that man.
accepted,
What's the
yeah.
quote? There's some comic quote.
Oh, are
That's
you
close
talking
to
about great responsibility?
Something. I'm sure there's a line that'll fit this perfectly.
I don't know.
That I'm not thinking of, but it's one of those where
Some people are born into greatness. Some people seize greatness, and some people have greatness thrust upon them. Is, I think, applicable to Mace.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm taking all these.
Okay.
I'm taking all these.
With
just
great power
pretend-
comes great responsibility.
I'm gonna
is
throw that one
what you
out,
were
too.
looking
Let's
for.
move
I
on.
am the Iron
Also,
Fist.
West also come great responsibility. Yeah, sure. I shortened down both of those quotes.
Paraphrasing's not allowed in the MCU.
Oh, sorry.
Speaking of
I'm in 638.
additional Pokemon references,
my God.
Belinda Boo on Twitter wrote, Fitzsimmons created an Inhuman Pokeball. Does that mean Coulson is Ash Ketchum? Because you gotta catch them all.
I also wrote giant Pokeball.
That was an interesting sort of solution to that problem, wasn't it?
I kept on thinking, like, what if you took like a mason jar and just like caught a few of his molecules and like ran away with
My
it?
kidney!
Yeah. And he just like reforms and he's just missing a shoulder.
Aww.
You just have a shoulder in a jar.
I needed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you guys think he's coming back?
Yeah.
Shockley?
Yeah. Or Nitro, whatever we want to call him at this point.
He could. I don't see why not, but I mean, I think he's put away. He's sort of like, it's sort of like, I know we're crossing streams here a little bit. It's sort of like on The Flash, like you put people in the their little jail,
The jail.
like,
The
their
Flash.
questionably illegal jail thing.
The absolutely illegal.
Of course, the constitutionally immoral application.
It's the fictional show that exists in the universe. Like this is. S.H.I.E.L.D. is real.
Yeah.
The Flash is just a fictional
the
thing
TV show
that
they
happens.
watch.
Yeah, it's a TV show.
Oh, okay.
I also wrote Ghost Trap as well from Ghostbusters. Yeah.
It did make me question though the legal aspect of this. So they've caught him. Do they have to put him on trial?
I think they do.
Like under the
In
Sokovia
the ball?
Accords, I think. But under the Sokovia Accords, I think you have to legally put him on trial. You can't just like storm away.
Yeah.
Can't put him on
the
the
whole
raft.
point is S.H.I.E.L.D. has to operate legally. So I think Shockley has to like appear before a jury of his peers, which will all be Inhumans because peers.
Or just Dynamite. It's a jury of Dynamite.
How do you start?
Badum-tish.
No, the boom. What?
Boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, boom goes the dynamite.
Yep.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if he comes back. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I had a question
Yeah.
to the panel. Does Shockley, because Nitro's powers are a little different, does Shockley have a healing power that we're not aware of?
Because, being able to reform after an explosion seems to be an
Does he
inherent
come
part of
back
his
healed?
biology. The question is if he were to get shot or, I don't know, stabbed or something that wouldn't necessarily cause him to explode, would he come back together whole? Like, would he just automatically heal himself like Wolverine?
I think maybe to a certain extent, if his molecules are being blown apart and reconstituting to like what they were, if he was shot and then there were molecules missing, they wouldn't be able to come back. But on the other hand, maybe it's that like he blows up and then like if
It's
he
like
was
a cellular
if he was
regeneration
Yeah.
thing.
like so if he got shot, he would have to like heal normally, but he could explode and then come back to 100%.
Exactly. If he got shot, does he use that kinetic energy to just explode and come back? Because in the Marvel Universe, we have seen characters that are able to use the energy against them. The Hellfire Club guy was like that. So,
You mean Hellfire?
No, not Hellfire. No, not Hellfire.
He's
That's Fox.
he's talking about a guy with hair.
Yeah, what's the guy's
The
name?
leader of the Hellfire Club.
Actually they did use him in the X-Men, but it was nothing like the comic book. The Kevin Bacon character.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
The internet is screaming at us right
That's
now.
I'm
fine.
sure they are. I actually
Yeah.
I forget his name simply because I did not like even though X-Men is my personal favorite comic book.
Yeah.
I dislike the X-Men movies because they went so far off that
His name Baron?
I mean, I think he does have a title of some kind.
Baron
yeah.
Von Bacon?
no.
Baron Von Bacon.
That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
But
Yeah.
anyway, he uses the energy, the kinetic energy. So
Yeah.
if you shoot it, it actually makes him more powerful.
Sebastian
yeah.
Sebastian Shaw. There you go. Thank you.
That's the
Baron
chat.
Von
Yeah.
Bacon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
AC
Chad.
Cincinnati
I
Magic
apologize.
Speaking
and
of
Lasertron.
Speaking of villains who get kind of just put away, after being contained, Alvin tweeted at us, Shockley equals Graviton Part 2.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
another Hulk villain, too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They're
They just keep
they-
putting them away.
I guess what Marvel is
Universal
saying.
won't let them make a Hulk movie.
I guess what Marvel is saying is we're not going to get another singular Hulk movie.
Probably
so they're
not.
just taking Hulk's rogues gallery and just bringing them
just
to
sprinkling
Agents of
them in
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
which I'm okay with.
But sticking them in a refrigerator so that we can take them out when we're
they'll be
ready.
fresh when
they're
we
not
get back to
naming them the Hulk villains.
That's true.
Because like Gravitron and Nitro would be amazing villains for the Avengers or like in the Marvel universe. So like I like that they are not full on just saying like this is Gravitron, this is Nitro. That we're still getting the character, but we also have an option to have them in the movies.
So
Yeah,
in the
that's
next
fair.
episode, if they go to Canada and they're in the woods, and then a white creature, and they're like, "What is that? Where did he go?" And they just like play every word. When did he go? And they just keep saying it, and he attacks them. We'll know for certain we're not getting a Hulk movie.
Yeah.
We'll know like we're just not getting a Hulk movie.
No Hulk movie.
Sad day, sad day. I do want to bring it back to Mace a little bit because, yeah, we get this extended football metaphor, but ultimately he feels like without the serum, he's of no use to the team. He's their mascot. He's their PR person.
Yeah.
He can't even walk into a crime scene, which I don't feel like he should have been doing anyway.
Yeah, he's not qualified.
No. But like at every turn, he feels like he's not contributing, especially since Agent May is gone and they have no idea where she is. So and this is probably the most I've ever empathized with him, outside of when he was actually giving his backstory, because if you've ever been in a situation where you're like, everybody's working hard and doing their best to make sure this gets done, I just got here and I have no applicable skills to the situation. Like, you know exactly how Mace is feeling in this moment.
That's how I feel on this panel. You guys are fantastic, and I'm just here for whatever. No, I think.
No, I am the panel.
It was a joke time. I really like the characterization of Mace in this episode until his final act.
Where he just ran into freaking.
Like, yeah, you're right though. Again, they've done a great job bringing like what the Patriot is in the books to life and making it work in this world, and he feels like a real person. Yeah, where like I believe if somebody was in all these situations, this is how it would play out, and this is like a guy who would all he wants to do is be Steve Rogers. He wants to be Steve Rogers in the best of ways, not in like the I want to be a superhero. He wants to, he just wants to help
represent what Steve Rogers represents.
You feel how much it cut when Gemma said, "You will never be Steve Rogers."
Yeah. That was hard. Like, why?
Ooh.
And it's also the team is almost making sure he feels left out in a lot of ways.
I don't feel like they're
They are. There was a little bit of shade thrown throughout. They were like, "Oh no, you're fine. Just stay behind. Why are you coming?"
I mean,
they kind of threw that out there.
I saw that too. I was especially from
Sky.
Especially
I call her Sky forever.
Daisy,
I think especially I got a little bit from Gemma, where it was like, and if you remember, like the first couple episodes of the season,
they were like, not on good terms.
They were not on good terms, and so I think it is kind of one of those things where it's like, this guy was your boss, and he was real Type A personality, and like real crazy. And now he kind of works for you.
Well, and he loved being the boss. Yeah, and he liked being the boss. He liked being called a hero and like feeling like a hero. And right now, the world still thinks of him as a hero. Yeah. But nobody else does.
Which, again, for a guy who wants to be Steve Rogers, to be called a hero all the time and to not actually be one is literally and figuratively killing him. Like he wants to be that guy, and like that's why we see him make the sacrifice play, which makes sense for Mace, but it does not make sense that Fitzsimmons just let him go.
They all were like,
let him run head first into that car, and we'll just see what happens.
To be honest, like I wish that they had brought up the whole idea of the serum slowly killing him earlier.
Same.
Like bring it up when you first reveal it and it would have been fine. Like this idea that even makes him better. Like he's like he's taking the risk. Like he's like, no, I have to be the hero that everyone thinks I am, so I'm willing to put my life on the line every day that I use this. The whole blocker thing. Okay, maybe you're gonna die doing this, or they're just gonna capture you.
Yeah,
which is an exact as much of a possibility.
Nightmare,
For all
guys.
intents and purposes, you are the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. as far as the United States
and you are
knows.
literally
the
throwing
world knows.
yourself
And-
headfirst into enemy territory.
As
What is
far
wrong
as
with you?
anyone outside of the core team knows,
Yeah.
he's the director. The
He's
chat.
the hero we deserve, not
But
the
not
hero.
the one we need right now.
The chat's going off on like whether like we'll get a Mace LMD and like who else we might get an LMD.
Maybe if the superior kills him.
I actually have a prediction tonight.
Ooh.
Just remind me. I have a.
Okay, well, we'll definitely
right.
get to it.
Well, let's keep moving
We
then.
have other things to talk about, but before we move on, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. We love the fact that we have an international audience, and it is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on. It keeps the lights on. It keeps us here at this fancy desk. And if you guys do leave a comment, you may very well just get a shout out on the show.
Yeah, well, I want to in the interest of like some news and gossip and stuff. So keep moving quickly. I'm just gonna thank the people who wrote
Please
the reviews.
do, yes.
So thank you, Dinner Beef, for agreeing that LMD Ward is a just no.
No,
Bad
thank you.
chat.
No, thank you.
Bad. That crazy Ravenclaw. Thank you so much. TV and After Show Binger. The Eighth Koenig Brother. And A Fools 1. Thank all you guys.
Thank you guys.
And a special shout out for this one. I want to thank Corey Glover. Asked for a birthday shout out from the voice of Doom.
Is his birthday today?
I think so. So Doom
Corey
wishes
Glover.
you
Happy
the
birthday.
best of birthdays. May death come quickly to your enemies.
That's what's up. Happy birthday. It's my birthday. We have the same birthday.
Happy
Corey
birthday.
Is it your
Glover.
birthday today?
It is.
Happy birthday, Tehran.
Happy birthday,
Today.
Sharon.
True story. Thank you guys. But
Happy
Corey
birthday,
Glover.
man. That's
February 7th. It's a
awesome.
good day.
Here's a fact. Tehran is ageless. He was here when the song that birthed the earth was first sung.
And the happy
It's
birthday
so-
song.
It's so funny because someone actually wrote on my comment today. I asked people to post pictures of us.
Oh, yeah.
And someone actually wrote, "Are you a vampire?" Because it was like a picture and it'd be like 2010, 2012. 2000. And I looked almost the same, and it was just a very interesting
You're the
thing
same
to say.
position each time too.
And this girl wrote, "Are you a vampire?" And someone, why? It's like, look at the pictures. The years are different. He looks the same. It's just interesting.
In the
Someone
background,
finds
there's
a
a picture.
Victorian painting.
Black don't crack, half black don't crack either. Okay, love it.
All right, it's
Bathrobe every time.
And a lot of bathrooms. Yes.
that's
Where all of his power is.
What if? Hey,
It's the secret to his immortality. So happy birthday, Tehran.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy
So
birthday,
awesome.
man.
thank you guys.
Alvin Kira just said Mace's arc transforming from Boromir into Samwise.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Aww.
Anyway.
So, yes, let's move on. We haven't even touched on the Agnes storyline in this particular episode, which, I don't know about you guys, it's not necessarily super surprising that Radcliffe based Ada off of a real person,
Yeah.
but it's real upsetting.
Yeah. Someone tweeted at us, and I forget their name, and I'm sorry, but it reminded me a lot of Joe Costa. Like, making a robot based off of your ex-girlfriend is very weird.
Anybody who's thinking about doing that, don't.
Listen, roboticists, we know you listen to us. Don't make a robot based off of your ex-girlfriend. It's
Or
weird.
boyfriend.
Or boyfriend. Listen, whatever your gender and whatever sexuality you have, don't make a robot based off of an ex-relation that you once had.
So current relations are fine, but exes.
Current relation on the table. Ex-relation off the table.
Or any dead family members, don't do that either.
What about
That's a bad
celebrity?
idea.
What about
Celebrity? Celebrities from the 1970s and later. but nothing from them to the present.
Okay, so no like Harpo Grouch walking around or something.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Judy Garland,
If we
you're
can
good.
have CGI Tarkin, I mean, why not?
Listen, these are my laws of robotics.
That's okay.
Like from 77.
Okay. Holograms are okay. Robots not okay.
Yes, agree.
Got it.
Holograms can't kill you yet. So yes, we get introduced to Agnes, who again, wonderful acting chops because she had a great Australian accent, and
Is she Australian?
I don't know.
I have no idea actually. I've only ever seen her on
She might be
Gallivant.
Australian.
I'm guessing that the actress is Australian.
I thought she was Australian.
I've only ever seen her on Gallivant. I have no idea. But whatever, she did a really great performance. Accent aside, like the look of pain on her face when Radcliffe tells her, I can give you, like, I can keep my promise to you, was absolutely heart-wrenching because this is somebody who had come to terms with her fate, who's now being thrown a lifeline she never anticipated.
Yeah.
So, and like, even prior to that, like, meeting up with Coulson, I was really afraid that he was going to go a little bit Rambo like he did last season after Roz died, in terms of trying to strong arm her into helping them.
I wanted him to go Rambo. I thought Coulson did what he had to do. He was level-headed. I was mad at Mac.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why he was like, well, our friend is like totally kidnapped by and like
Or
maybe
dead.
dying,
Yeah.
but like respect this woman's privacy, bro.
That's because Mac had a death.
Yeah, he.
No,
But
I
we've
get
seen
that, but
It affects him more. I mean,
We've
she's
seen
dying.
Mac though go like over the edge trying to get information though. Like it.
this
Sure,
wasn't
from
it
bad
wasn't-
guys, but not from an innocent bystander.
But this wasn't even like it wasn't like Coulson was like torturing her and it's like, tell me where it is.
Where
It's
are
like,
the
he was
other
just
drugs
like,
going?
He was just like, we need your help, and he wanted to press a little harder to get her help, and Mac was like,
and put her
leave
in the line of
alone.
danger, which they did, and it just happened to work out this way. But
I-
what
That's
if she
true.
had got shot by a ricochet?
I get it. I get it though, because
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, it's not something that's at the forefront of the series, and it's something that kind of it seemingly was brought up out of the blue a couple episodes ago. His daughter died, and, due to medical complications, we're not given a whole lot of details on that, but I imagine when the subject of, like, this person only has...
Terminal illness.
Yeah, this person only has X amount of time to live. It's not something that he'll readily bring up, but it's something that's always just kind of underneath the surface that is always with him. And that's not something at the time when it just felt like it was out of the blue. Knowing that that's a part of his backstory and that's a part of who he is, it does make conversations like this make a little bit more sense. It gives them a little bit more context.
I guess to me, I wish they would act more like secret agents than they do, because as a secret agent, a woman with a terminal illness who's going to die this year probably is not worth much as an asset as Agent May, a secret agent who is the best fighter you've had, who is someone who can help you, is worth. Like, that information is worth more to Mac as a secret agent.
it's worth more to the world.
And to
Just
the
like
world as
bottom
well.
line, Melinda May, if they can rescue her, is going to save so many lives over protecting this woman's privacy, and that's what frustrated
I'm
me
never
about Mac's
voting for
perspective.
either one of you for any political office.
Well, here's the thing.
Good thing.
Talk about this
I
is-
wouldn't
without
vote for me
Terrigen, both
either.
of you are Inhuman right now.
Well, no, I 100%, I get where Mac came from. I would probably act the exact same way. What I'm saying is it's an interesting line that this show always is kind of towing, is that, like, a lot of times you forget that these are soldiers. And, like, that was a moment where, like, as a soldier, your call would be to protect another soldier. Like, I feel
But
like...
as a
fellow
law-abiding soldier, your
Sure.
call is, she says no, we can't force
She's a
her.
civilian.
She's a
and she said
civilian.
no.
Not
And she
forced,
said no.
not forced
Not
though.
forced,
But like,
but, like-
Coulson wasn't talking about like kidnapping or doing anything extreme. He just wanted to press the issue, and
And
Mac,
use a civilian in a potentially dangerous military operation. And that is, for all intents and purposes, illegal.
Happens all the time, though.
It doesn't happen all the time.
In S.H.I.E.L.D.
In
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Possibly.
speaking of, for this setup that they have, they were stationed far away. If she had been in
Yeah.
danger, like
That was
I'll grant.
that was incredibly
Like they
frustrating.
did not protect her well.
That was
Obviously not. He took her.
That was incredibly frustrating. I was like, once she was on the move, you guys can get out of the van and walk behind her,
Tracking device or something.
or put a drone over her, or
Exactly.
something. And instead,
It's S.H.I.E.L.D. They could have just made a shoe a tracker.
yeah. And instead, they were 3 miles away. It felt like the scene
gotta
in Monty
get to
Python. It felt like the scene in Monty Python where Sir Lancelot's running up to the castle,
Hilarious.
and it just keeps on cutting back to him running.
and I'm
it's
also-
like, how far were they? How far were they?
I'm also picturing Radcliffe talking to the Superior. I need goons, but not ones that'll kill anyone. Like, can you accommodate me? We'll give you goons with worst aim. Stormtrooper goons is what I call them.
And yeah, I mean, and in the end, she decides to go with Radcliffe again, who promises that he's found a cure.
Now, okay, so there's a lot that's thrown at us in the last couple minutes of her storyline. One, it's that Radcliffe can upload consciousnesses to the framework, which is where May is trapped. Like, straight up upload her brain, like Transcendence style. That's not good.
Yeah.
The opposite of good. He has
Well,
trapped her in a...
this is that's arguable though, because it's a legitimate it's a
It's
concept that's
quite a
talked
bit.
about in science fiction a lot. Like
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of people in a lot of books look at it as a step in evolution. Like, we're moved beyond our physical bodies and exist purely in a digital realm.
Did no one watch Lawnmower Man?
I will say not that many people watch Lawnmower Man.
I always get concerned, anytime anybody's consciousness gets uploaded, because she is dead. She, as a person, is dead now.
Her body is dead.
Yes.
I think a lot of it brings up the concept of what a soul is.
100%.
If your soul is your collective experiences and your consciousness, and that's what makes you who you are, then I think that then yes, this works well. But I mean, a lot of what makes you who you are is your body. Like, people who get paralyzed, their personalities change, not out of anything other than the fact that they can't feel who they are anymore. Like, your stomach is a huge part of your personality, and not being able to feel your gut literally is a big part of your personality. So
I concur with that assessment.
That's why I say it's a step in evolution. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Finish your thought, because to me, this furthered a plot line, and I had a question for you guys.
I mean, for May, it's against her will. So in that case, it is of course an evil act. But for Agnes, I think that it is genuinely a kind and a good thing. There's a similar plotline in one of Arthur C. Clarke's last novels, The Last Theorem.
I was thinking about
When one of the characters gets he reaches the end of his life, him and his wife, when they both are going to die, they upload their consciousness to what is effectively the framework, and that's how they live. And yes, it's not exactly the same, because at one point they're visited and they don't behave exactly the same, but it is still them. It's just them at a different point in your life. It's the same thing as if I were to become paralyzed today, I would be different a year from now.
Yeah.
Of course I would, but it would still be me.
Yeah, I think
Alvin brings up a good point. She is now Arnim Zola.
Well, I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, I think for Radcliffe, ideally, what you would do is he would upload your consciousness to the framework, and then download your consciousness into LMD. So
that's kind of what I thought. I was like, is he gonna put her brain in a robot body?
I thought that's what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
To Ida, but here's the thing: if we're saying that her soul is also being transferred, which is what they're trying to insinuate,
I think so.
When she becomes Ida, effectively, then the Darkhold's effect.
Oh, interesting.
See, so that's what I saw the plot going in that direction.
but it didn't. Her consciousness, it could. But I think, and here's the flip side of it. I don't think Ada's on board with that. You see the look on her face when she sees a photo of the woman she's based on, when she realizes that she wasn't created from scratch, so to speak. And you see
resents it.
Yeah, and you see her take the necklace off of that dead woman.
So creepy.
Also,
so
think that
creepy.
LMDs might have souls.
Also,
She certainly feels jealousy. That's a thing.
Also, incredibly impressive. I don't know if you guys have had to like deal with those little necklace latches. Ada did it. I mean, even for a robot, she did it first try, no issue. It takes me 3 or 4
it is
tries.
The worst.
Yeah,
it is the worst.
Why are they so small? Why not?
I mean, as an LMD, she very well may have eyes in the back of her head.
That's true.
Makes it a lot easier.
But and it's interesting because, when we got that reveal that Radcliffe actually was, quote unquote, the bad guy in this particular arc, we're like, oh, Ada wasn't really feeling emotions. She was mimicking them. And here we see, I don't know.
It seems like feeling.
Is she feeling them?
And I thought that was going to be a plot.
Otherwise, she's just mimicking them she's just mimicking emotions for the audience's benefit, which doesn't make sense to me.
Because why is she doing it when no one's looking?
Yeah. Which is kind of one of those things where you can resent the writers if they don't, if they don't pay that off. Because then it's like they're just doing that for us.
We sadly kind of need to wrap up talking about this episode because we have some news and gossip. So really quick, final thoughts on the episode.
Superior skimming the Darkhold.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
We're just gonna act like that didn't happen. That happened. Is that okay? Is that
No, not okay.
He's too stupid to get anything
Well, the fact
out
that
of
the
it.
Darkhold said just like trust Radcliffe, that's really scary.
Just in big bold letters, just trust Radcliffe. You'll get what you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
Darkhold's like, you're an idiot.
I don't see this going well for either of us.
I can teach you nothing.
just like a Radcliffe. Ada making an excuse when she's like, I can tell something's wrong. You programmed me like that. It was kind of an excuse. It made me think, whoa, is she more real than we realize?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good observation.
The watchdogs being discriminatory against Ada, like, can we get this out of here?
She's a thing.
She's a thing. And she felt some way about that as well.
Yeah, you could tell that there was a little bit of offense there, but I also feel like they were also just saying that, like, please get the thing that can kick the crap out of us out of this room.
I thought they were being, not for all intents and purposes, racist against...
They're racist.
They're
racist against LMDs, against actual people.
Yeah, literally called the superior.
He just needs to hear that he's the superior man before he can embrace his comrades. Anyway, we have some news and gossip to talk about tonight.
Well, favorite moments we didn't touch on. I loved Fitz and Simmons like hugging him.
That was beautiful.
I loved Phil's line like, I had a similar role when I started working with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Basically being he had a really great line.
I've been there.
It's not easy to find your place when you work with heroes and gods. Yeah, so good. I loved Daisy being in the middle of a science sandwich with both Fitz and Simmons just kind of giving her the puppy dog eyes like, and she's like, fine.
Oh, yeah, they kind of like science bullied her into doing it.
But they were so cute.
Yeah.
They were such a cute couple in this episode. And I know we haven't talked about Daisy a ton over the last few weeks because her storylines have been so straightforward, but she has been on point.
She was
in like all of these past episodes she's been in.
The relocation thing, she still is the champion for the Inhumans, which I think is cool. Yeah.
Okay, we need to move on to news and gossip before
we're talking about Iron Fist.
The Iron Fist trailer dropped today. Guys, I know you were chomping at the bits to talk about it, so what did you all think?
Iron Fist is my favorite Marvel property, and I'm super excited. I'm just like I've been so nervous for it because I like it so much, and see them handling it so well. I'm really excited to see it. I was disappointed we didn't see any Misty Knight. I really hope we see her in the series.
I don't know if I don't think she's going to be in this one, but she is in Defenders.
She is in Defenders.
Which Danny Rand is going to be in.
Maybe towards the latter half of the season.
Yeah, but this trailer just looks It looks really good.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that it's very much it is hitting that Netflix street level vibe.
Yeah.
As opposed to like
Magic.
Immortal Iron Fist storyline with like the torn. We're not gonna tell most of the story in Kunlun with that magical aspect. It is gonna be that. It is gonna feel like the Netflix show. For better or worse, we'll see what that looks like. I think it's going to be different than a lot of people maybe expect it to be, especially fans. Like I think you'll be knowing you. I think you'll be on board. I think a lot of fans hoping to see the magical aspect of Iron Fist may not get as much of it as they might have been hoping for.
I think we see Madame Gao in there, and I think
For a hot second, yeah.
I think because of that, I think I expect the first half to be the story of Danny Rand coming back to Manhattan and kind of like
Oliver Queen, coming back,
getting everything back. And I think the second half will be either flashbacks or magic development in the new Marvel.
Oh, we'll definitely get
world.
Those flashbacks to Kunlun. You can't do his origin story, which most people absolutely need.
Yeah. Need to see him hug a dragon.
Yeah, we got it. We got to see the dragon.
Tehran, what did you think?
I thought that it reminded me of Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, to which I found out that you had no idea what Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon was, as you quoted Dragonheart. Just the trailer did, not the comic book, but in the martial arts aspect.
Don't besmirch Dragonheart.
I am going to go home and watch Man with the Iron Fist, though. That's going to be great.
It's Black History Month. I'm not going to let that happen. I mean, we're going to need you to.
If you haven't seen The Last Dragon, it's an awesome movie.
Thank you. It's and it just reminded me of that. The trailer was obviously awesome. It looks exciting. Iron Fist is not one of my personal favorites.
Sure.
But the trailer was.
Yeah. I will be honest, I have no emotional connection to Iron Fist. So me looking at this trailer, it did feel in like the first minute or two of the trailer, I was like, so they basically took Iron Fist's story and gave it to Oliver Queen for Arrow for some reason. Because like that's what I'm feeling, is like this feels a lot like the CW's new interpretation of Arrow in season 1, only Netflixy and better.
Yeah, way less angsty.
I will say, I do hope
soap
that
opera
with the magical elements, I hope they do a better job than the second half of season 2 of Daredevil did with integrating the magical elements. I'm sure they will, because it's so central to the character. That being said, I'm still a little disappointed they didn't decide to kind of, branch out in terms of casting with the character. That being said, this looks fun. And it looks like it's done with the same quality as every other Netflix show that they've done so far.
Also, follow Marvel Iron Fist on Twitter. They are very punful.
No!
And
all of the Marvel Netflix accounts interact in
punful.
Ridiculous ways.
Alias is my favorite.
Follow Jessica Jones, follow Luke Cage, follow Daredevil. It's really fun.
Someone tweeted at them, "This trailer looks dope," and then they responded, "Madame Gao is the one with dope," and it showed a picture of the snake.
All right.
Yeah,
that's got to be the last thing that we say.
We do need to do some rapid fire predictions. No time. Okay, it's time to leave the studio. Then Zach, where can people go if they want to find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson.
Tehran.
I am Tehran all across the social atmosphere.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. You can find me and Zach hosting Sci-Fi Weekly on Popcorn Talk. That's 4 o'clock on Sundays. Also, I am on a sketch team called Haymaker. Haymaker Comedy is our YouTube. We just released a Rage Against the Machine parody that's against the Conversation Hearts in Valentine's Day. Go see it. It's funny.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. Follow that. You'll see everything I'm doing. Thank you guys so much to everybody in the hashtag, the live chat. We love you all. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you all next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Views expressed herein are those of the host
See you
only, and do not
later.
necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.